welcome to Occasionally Posh, where we enjoy life, laughs, and shenanigans. I'm your girl, Chassie B. Sunshine is currently driving. She's on mute, so ain't no telling if she can hear us or not.
Oh, and I'm Sunshine. I thought I was unmuted.
That joker said, what you won't do is leave me out of the introductions. Not today.
Yeah, Sunshine has been trying to get gas since 6 o'clock.
That part.
So that's one of the reasons why we're late. We're gonna blame it on her. We ain't gonna blame it on my
technical. That go back to the pipeline though. You know, it's all full circle.
It's a full circle. It is a full circle.
Right.
Well, today we are joined by a very special guest. Her name is Miss Mary Jackson. Go ahead and list your accolades and them alphabets behind your name, boo.
Okay, so boom, I am Mary P. Jackson, MSW, LCSW, SOTP, CFI. I think that's pretty much it. Also, your local clinician, as a clinician, your hood hippie therapist, all of that kind of good stuff. HBCU educated therapist ×2. Yeah,
Elemental,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just alphabet soup, as my homegirl calls it. You know what I'm saying? I like to throw it all out there, a little razzle dazzle. You know what I'm saying? Too bad for a little country girl from the hood and all that kind of good stuff. Here I am. Y'all be making me feel like the expert when it comes to mental health stuff. Like, you hit me up, Chaz, like, yo, can you? I'm like, of course, I'm a friend to the show. Put me on.
Well, you were already highly requested to come back a couple of times. I was like, she was good, but I was better.
Now, I want everybody to keep that same energy when I start my own podcast, which will be coming soon. I was telling Chastity about it. It will be as a clinician with common sense. Shout out to my cousin Portia for the name. So yeah, I'm gonna be giving you real therapy stuff, but not therapy because you need to go see your own therapist, but with some common sense, because you ain't got to use all them big words to get your point across. So
expeditiously, exactly.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna happen.
Okay, so let's jump right on into it. We usually start every podcast with a foreplay, which is this or that question. I always go first because Sunshine always makes me go first. So being that this is Mental Health Awareness Month, I was thinking of like relaxing things that I like to do whenever I want a time to relax. So would you rather have a vacation to relax or be at home, house clean, listening to music, drinking your wine with your feet up, reading a book or watching a movie?
I'm a book. Give me a book and some wine, and that's it for me. That's a good, relaxing, chill time. I'm gonna drink the whole bottle, read as much of the book as I can before I pass out because I drank the whole bottle, and I'm gonna write it off as self-care because that's important.
Amen. Amen. How about you, Sunshine?
Well, pre-pandemic, I would say home, but these days I'm ready to get up out of here. Just saying. I done seen enough of my house to last a while. Okay.
I done seen enough of my house with my kids in the house. So I would really like some time without them, and I ain't got to clean up. I ain't got to wash no clothes. Like, I just want to relax and just sip on my wine, sip on my vodka, whatever, fall asleep, wake up, go back to sleep, wake back up, watch 100 movies and only sing 5 minutes of each movie. And that right there is better to me than a vacation. Time you want to do with this or that? Or we want to keep it moving accordingly?
Sure. Would you rather be out of toilet paper, out of gas?
Toilet paper because I could use a bad cloth if push comes to shove.
That's one of them things you don't say in the public. Come on.
I want to be out of gas because I don't like leaving the house no how. So yeah.
You got that luxury.
I don't want to have to walk if I ain't got to. So yeah. Okay. So I think we are shared with everybody. If not, y'all, I honestly apologize. If you can, just send them to my page and tell them they can get it from off of there. Because my page is public. So they can just go to my page, Chastity B. Lindsay. That's fine. Okay, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I felt this would be a good time to touch on mental health awareness. Nearly 1 in 5 US adults live with a mental illness, and mental illness can vary from mild to moderate to severe. A few years ago, I had the pleasure to attend an amazing training on ACEs, and ACEs is short for Adverse Childhood Experiences. I knew a few months ago that I wanted to do this discussion. I reached out to Mary a couple of months ago and was like, what do you know about ACEs? And I promised I could feel her smiling from Greensboro all the way up. She was like, that right there is my specialty. So I felt like this right here would be a good time to bring her back on. We discuss ACEs and get her professional expertise on this. And so I want to open up the floor to Miss Mary. And let's start with what exactly is ACEs?
All right, so the Adverse Childhood Experience scale is a scale of just 10 questions. And the questions are basically used to assess if you've experienced any defuncts in the home, such as divorce, witnessing your mom being abused, if you've experienced any type of sexual abuse. It also asks questions about if anybody in your house has mental illness or has been in prison and stuff like that. And so these 10 little questions are supposed to be able to assess whether or not you're at risk for having some type of mental illness or falling victim to abuse or something like that yourself, as well as, basically health issues. So the scale was developed, to try to get basically a good assessment on whether or not your childhood plays a part in your future, which we all know that it does, but it was like, does it do it health-wise, as far as like high blood pressure, diabetes, things of that nature? And lo and behold, it does. So the thought process is that if you've experienced any of these defects in your home, then you're not going to be as successful as you would be if you didn't experience these things. Like, of course, the higher the score, the more it's supposed to be that you're not going to be, a successful person, and you're going to be at risk for all of these health issues, mental health issues, things of that nature. I agree with that to a certain degree, but then again, I don't. I've taken the test multiple times for no reason other than because the questions don't change. Out of the 10, I think I scored like an 8 on there, and I'm fine. But I did a training last year. I had went to a cognitive behavioral therapy training, trauma training. And, we were talking about the scales and the scores or whatever. And the guy that was running the training, I gave him my score, and he was like, how are you functioning? Like, somebody would have scored that high. Like, you're not supposed to be sitting here right now. Like, you should be on some type of depressives. You should be some type of antidepressives. You should be doing this. You should have this. You should have that. And I was like, well, I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that stuff very much plays a part in your everyday life. Like, I tell people all the time, especially in the Black community, we've normalized a lot of things that aren't normal, and we don't realize that it's trauma. We've normalized growing up in a single parent home. We've normalized witnessing your kids, we've normalized beating your kids. We've normalized your parents being an addict. We've normalized sexual assault. We've normalized all of this stuff. And that's not how it's supposed to be. It's definitely a precursor for at least post-traumatic stress disorder. But because it's so normal, we don't think about it. And so it doesn't correlate that all of this trauma, you got post-traumatic stress disorder and you don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? And now with the way that, we're getting killed and stuff like that, it's not normal to shake and shiver when you're pulled over by the police. These are the people that's supposed to protect and serve us, but now we have post-traumatic stress disorder from that, and anxiety and all of this other stuff. So yeah, that's basically how the ACE scores work. There is, of course, several links online if anybody wants to go online and take it, see where you score at and how you feel about it. So that's that.
Thank you.
So how do they figure that 10? How do they figure that 10 questions sum up all that?
So the 10 questions, I'm gonna give you, I actually have it right here. So the 10 questions are like in depth, but it's very, like, I've used it at a previous job that I worked at. It was actually part of our comprehensive clinical assessment. And the comprehensive clinical assessment is an assessment done to make a diagnosis, right? So this actual test is just a small portion of that. And so one of the questions would be like, before your 18th birthday, did a parent or other adult in your household often or very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you, or act in a way that made you afraid you might be physically hurt? So the questions are really complex, and I feel like, you know, there should be a way to shorten them or make them more specific. Because if you're doing an assessment like this on a 6 or 7-year-old, they don't get that. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. So that's what, you know, when Chassie and I had a conversation about this a couple of months ago, I was like, that's going to be something that I plan on doing, is figuring out a way to make this more more, you know, specific to situations to get a better assessment, because it is kind of general.
Yeah.
It seemed like it would be, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you would think they would have it more broke down depending on what age group you in. Because if you ask a 2-year-old this and a 12-year-old this, they're gonna have two so totally different views.
Right. And then, like I said, it depends on what you consider normal. Yeah, you know, my mama might have talked crazy to me, but that's what we did in my household. Yeah, my dad went to prison, but that's like all my friends' dads went to prison. That's not anything out of the, you know what I mean? So it's got to be a way to make it more specific, and you trust and believe that I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make a nice
I know that's right.
when I do.
You can do it. So I got a comment that somebody
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a comment that someone just commented, Miss Jones. She is actually a former teacher. I hope it's okay for me to read this. But anyway, she said that ACES is more effective. I think when we are working with children, they are young and have been taught, trained. They are young and have not been taught, trained, or experienced enough to deal with the traumas they have gone through. As adults, most of us have learned to adapt and survive fight or flight. So that's pretty, you agree?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's a past tense and a present type thing, the way that the questions are set up. Like, it's not, if you're an adult, it's, you know, before your 18th birthday, but if it's a child, it's, you're not 18 yet,
what you're
so
going
it's
through
before
now.
your 18th birthday. So yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. One of the things that I found interesting whenever I took the training was whenever the lady was telling us about it, and she was like, I'm going to give it to everybody so y'all can take it and see what y'all score is. I just knew that mine was going to be like a smooth 1, if that, because I was like, I had a pretty good childhood. You know, I felt like I had a very good childhood considering what a lot of my peers went through. And when my score was a 5, I was a little shocked. So then it kind of made me like sit back and reflect on like things, because I was like, I honestly didn't realize I went through as much as I went through. And then I didn't realize the things that I was doing as an adult because of the things that I went through as a child. So it made me like sit back and do like a self-reflection of myself. And I actually think that it's made me better since I learned about it and learned that I did go through these childhood adversities that I didn't think that I went through.
Yeah, I actually just did it today. I've never done it before, and I just assumed mine was gonna be a 10. Like, oh, I know my story. That thing gonna be high. but it was just a 5 as well. So it definitely makes you reflect and take note what you've been through and what you haven't been through. So.
Right. So another thing that I found interesting was that the score reflects how do you say, like chronic illnesses that people tend to deal with. And I know that like a lot of the chronic, okay, so I'm gonna bring it back. So one thing that you said was in the Black community, we normalize things that shouldn't be normalized. Like one thing that bothers me is whenever parents, especially Black parents, say that they force their kids to eat what they cook. And I feel like you shouldn't be made to eat something that you don't want to eat. And I feel like that's a big problem with why a lot of kids are obese and why grown people are obese, because they was forced to eat food that they didn't want to eat and forced to eat whenever, I mean, like just forced to eat when you didn't want to eat. I feel like if you're not hungry, you're not hungry. If you don't want to eat it, you don't want to eat it. But then you go back and you think about these chronic diseases that the Black community is going through: high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and all this kind of stuff. Like that right there is a childhood trauma that is passed down from generation to generation to generation that people think is actually okay. And I just don't think that I don't think it's okay. It's abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you got to feed your kids, but you're going to sit here till you eat this rice and potatoes. I don't want to eat the rice and potatoes.
Yeah. And it's a lot of stressors too, that, you know, like you said, like the high blood pressure and stuff like that, that you normally wouldn't correlate with being made to do certain things, like you just said, like eat. For grad school, I actually I wrote a paper based off of this and the theory that your body manifests trauma, right? So my thought process was, if you've experienced any type of sexual trauma, any type of trauma in your womb, your vagina, anything like that, your body is going to manifest that trauma into fibroids, endometriosis, stuff like that, because, you know, the thought process, the same with the ACEs, is that if you've experienced these types of traumas, then it's going to affect you this way, you know, physically. Same thing. If you've experienced this type of trauma sexually, then your body is going to manifest the trauma in a way like that. So I don't think that people really pay attention to how people always say, you know, your childhood's your childhood. You're not who you are based off your childhood, but you kind of sort of are. Like, there's no way that you can say that your childhood doesn't affect you, whether it be mentally or physically. That effect is there. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's, you know, mental health, I mean, it's always something. But again, and I'm not by any means bashing the Black community. I just wish that there was a lot more awareness when it came to mental health about stuff like this, and how ignoring or acting like this stuff doesn't happen doesn't make it go away. It's still there, and it's gonna manifest itself, whether it be physically, mentally. You're gonna put it off on your kids. These generational curses that people talk about, is that type of stuff. So yeah,
I agree. Hold on, I thought somebody had asked a question. Oh, she was just saying that if we deal with the traumatic experiences in kids, we won't have adults who don't know why they respond the way they do. And I totally agree with that, which is one of the reasons I chose to put my kids in therapy, even though since COVID been going on, they ain't really been getting it. Lord knows they need it. But I
virtual.
But the virtual, they're not gonna sit down and they're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I understand.
Virtual with the kids, with some kids, and I got something to be like, I'm not cutting my camera on. I'm like, please cut your camera.
Right.
It's not the same, because you can't feel how somebody is feeling through a camera.
Yes,
you can't get that, because a lot of what we get from people is not what we say or what we do. It's that, you know, the vibe or the hormones or whatever you want to call it, the pheromones, whatever it is.
The energy
that you get from people.
Guys.
The energy. Right. So, yeah, I understand.
But so it was kind of crazy. Like, whenever I had decided to put them in therapy, it was right after I had started, took that training. And I was saying how my kids hadn't really been through anything. Actually, Miss Jones I had the conversation with her. I was telling her that they hadn't really been through anything traumatic. And I was like, I don't understand why they act the way they act, or doing the things that they do and all this kind of stuff. And at that time, me and their daddy had separated. I had moved out. He was somewhere else. And in my mind, I felt like I made it as smooth as possible. You know, I tried to keep their mind off of it. I tried to keep them busy. We went on trips. We did something every weekend just to keep their mind off of it. And whenever she said, she was like, but they still went through it. And I was like, they did. Even though I tried to make it smooth for them, they still went through it. And I was like, I need to get them in therapy so we can get this ball rolling so they can deal with their emotions and not hide it by going out to the beach every weekend because you don't want to be upset.
Yeah, I think a lot of families try to do that, like when their kids is going through stuff. Like if mama getting abused, then mama go out their way to make sure they got a good birthday party. Like, oh, I'm gonna forget that mama was just getting whooped in the back. Like that ain't really how that work.
Right. Right. Oh, y'all are coming in with the stuff today. So hold on, somebody just commented. As a person who was trying to unlearn a lot of habits that was taught and ones that I learned watching others, I definitely understand how your childhood shapes you as an adult. And that was from Anissa Nicole. Thank you for that. Yeah, I forgot. I had something and I totally forgot. Somebody help me.
Tragic. We were talking about your kids. You put them in therapy.
Yeah. So I just wanted them to be able to work through their emotions. I try to let them work through their emotions now, even though sometimes I get aggravated with them. And I'll be like, listen, stop all the crying. But I want them to be able to talk about their feelings, work through their emotions. Like the other day, they was upset. I had got a call from the teacher that told me that my oldest had cried 2 days in a row at school. When they asked him what was wrong, he said nothing. And then the youngest one was acting up in his teacher's class as well. So I separated both of them, asked them what was going on. At first, the oldest wouldn't tell me, but then he finally went on and told me. It had something to do with his daddy. So we just had to have a whole conversation about, you know, your daddy still loves you, blah, blah, blah. I love you, da, 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 and all this kind of stuff.
Feelings.
Yeah, I was like, but it's okay to feel the way you want to feel. Then I get to the little one. What's wrong with you? Nothing. I was like, just tell me what's wrong with you. He wouldn't tell me. I said, is it me? Did I do something wrong? And he said, yeah. And I said, so then I said, well, what did I do wrong? Like, just let me know what I did wrong. I'm not going to be mad at you for letting me know what I did wrong, because whatever it is, I'll try to work on it. And he was like, you yell too much. And I was like, well, I be yelling because y'all be making me yell. Y'all be getting But I was like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like I yell too much. So I'm going to work on that. We're going to try to work on that together. But when I ask you to do something, I need you to do it the first time so that I don't have to yell and I don't have to get angry. And he was like, okay, but I mean, ain't nothing changed. He's still doing the same thing. I'm still yelling. But at least he was able to tell me and felt comfortable enough to tell me that. A lot of kids didn't grow up with parents that you could even say that to without
right, because that's disrespect. You don't get to say nothing back in a Black household. That's who are you? Don't talk to me like that. Like I'm, as a therapist, I'm still unlearning that behavior with my kids, because AJ presses all the buttons. And so with AJ humbled me in a lot of ways with learning to explain things, because it's always been because I said so. And AJ's like, well, why did you say so? What happened? You want to talk about it? Like that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I commend you for putting your boys in therapy and allowing them to be able to express themselves like that, because it's not, boys don't talk about their feelings. What? Right. Talk about your feelings. Why would you? Nobody wants to hear that. And then they grow up to be these angry ass grown men that don't know how to express themselves. And it's because you've been told all your life that you don't get to talk about your feelings and that nobody wants to hear that. And boys aren't supposed to feel this and boys aren't supposed to feel that. So I commend you for that. And parents, get therapy. Put your babies in therapy. Everybody needs therapy. Like there's always something going on that can be talked about, something that can be discussed. So I recommend therapy for everybody.
I agree. I feel like everybody should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Your therapist has a therapist, okay?
I'm her therapist, y'all. It's me.
You see how you do
Okay.
that with some BS?
I just realized I ain't even had my microphone up here this whole time. Y'all ain't been able to hear this angelic voice.
Girl, we heard
We heard it just fine.
right.
But now you can hear it better. Beyonce back in the building. Okay.
You ready,
So,
B?
huh?
You ready, B?
Yeah. Better be glad I ain't got my fan or my hair down. All right. So what would you suggest for people that are unable to get to a therapist or talk to a therapist that do deal with these traumas? What are things that they could possibly do at home for self and eventually get to a therapist?
So of course, therapy always gonna be first and foremost. Medicaid will pay for therapy in most instances. I don't think a lot of people know that. Medicaid definitely will.
Even family planning.
Really?
I think so.
Oh,
I think it covers like a certain amount. I don't think it covers
hours. Yeah. Okay, so that's a thing. Private pay is also a thing. If you need a therapist, I'm gonna put this out here. If you need a ttherapist and you are having trouble locating one, inbox me. I work for a great company, all Black women, Black woman owned, all of that kind of good stuff. I will do my very best to get you into some type of therapy. Now that we got that out the way, self-care is very, very, very important. Journaling is a thing. Being very, very aware of your emotions is a thing. I have been reading, I need to get back on it, but I've been slack. I've been reading this really good book, and it's about sitting in your emotions. You know, like you have these emotions, they're here. Now, what are you going to do with them? It's called Emotional Advantage, embracing all your feelings to create a life you love. And it doesn't just talk about the good feelings. It talks about all the feelings. You're mad, you're angry, you're sad. Now that this feeling is here, let's sit with it. Depression, you're here. All right, girl, what is we doing? What is you here for? What do I need to do with you?
Right.
Another thing is being able to identify these feelings as they occur. Let's have real conversations about feelings. Somebody asks you how you feeling. Don't say you don't know. You figure it out. Let's talk about it. Let's process it. Journaling, exercise is a great way to boost your mood. And I know that it's like a full circle thing. You're depressed, so you don't feel like doing anything. But if you can pull yourself up to do something, it's gonna make you feel better, but you don't feel like it. So it's like the full circle type deal. Exercise is good. Finding your tribe. Your tribe is very important. No, none of your friends want to be your therapist, but if you have some really good friends that will listen to you talk and vent and help you figure some stuff out and are gonna keep it 100 with you, that's very important for self-care. No, I don't need no yes mans in my corner. Right. If I'm out here messing up, then I need you to tell me that I'm messing up. Shout out Reagan, Ebony, Bram, Tiffany, Fantasia for being my tribe. If I left you out, Portia, all y'all.
Chastity, you welcome.
Yeah. So
wow.
But I always tell people journaling, and if you don't like to write, everybody types on their phone. Type out your feelings. Find a way to get these feelings out. I tell a lot of people, that have anxiety, that mostly anxiety is your mind being busy. It's the racing thoughts. You're always thinking about something like that. Get these feelings off your mind and onto the paper. Write them down. That'll help alleviate some of the anxiety. It's a bunch of different ways. Again, let me put the disclaimer out there. This is not medical advice, all right? Because I ain't none of y'all's therapists. I ain't on none of y'all payroll. Exactly. In order to protect my license, I have to say that. But these are some tips that you can Google as ways to help you if you can't get into therapy. And again, if you are looking for a therapist, inbox me. I will do whatever I can to get you into some kind of services.
And always feel free to inbox occasionally, Posh. Me and Sunshine both are pretty well versed in that area as far as like we know resources that y'all can reach out to, and we can find people and know people and all that kind of stuff. So if you're ever going through anything or need somebody to talk to, like reach out to us, and I'm pretty sure we can point you in the right direction. I be seeing people post sometimes and I be like, listen, call this number.
Always your friend. You can always find some resources on Google, support groups, 1-800 numbers. And like I said, you know, your tribe is very important. Your tribe is very, very important. But yeah, Googling, journaling, reading, writing, those are always going to be my go-tos. Even in my clinical practice, these are things that I tell the people that I see.
Right. So I had pulled up a list earlier today with tips on how to boost your mental health, and it was 31. I think you said all of them. I think you touched every single one of them, but it was one that I found really interesting. It was one on there that I found really interesting, and it said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. And that was a quote by Maya Angelou is what they said. I didn't check to go back and see if that's true. We're just gonna go along with it. But anyway, it says, it says that people should share their stories. If they went through something, they're recovering, they should be able to share their stories on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, whatever. I often see people, they post things that they went through or currently going through, and people be like, oh, y'all share too much of your story and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, sometimes people need that outlet, and that might be like the only outlet that they have. So I think that people need to stop telling people what they need to do, even though I'm telling y'all what y'all need to stop doing. But stop telling people to stop sharing their feelings, because they need to share their feelings.
Can we normalize talking about, and I'm getting so sick and tired of hearing people say, can we normalize, but can we really normalize talking about our feelings? And that's funny coming from me, because if you know me personally, you know that I don't do well with feelings. Like if I know you, I don't really want to hear that. But professionally, it's my job to hear these feelings. So talk to somebody that does not mind listening to these feelings, because feelings are things.
Right. And sometimes people do need validation. Sometimes people do need somebody to tell them, you know, keep going, you got this. And Facebook might be the only place that they get it from. You don't know what's going on in their house. You don't know. They might have friends, but they might not have real friends that they can call and talk to. And it might just be one Johnny Johnson on Facebook that always be like, you got this, keep going. And that person might need to hear Johnny Johnson tell them, you got this, keep going.
Yeah, I'm laughing at your sister. I just got on here ready to
talk to the lady.
Talk to the Listen, that has been my hashtag for the past couple of weeks. You know, you break up with your dude, and the first thing this sucker say is, I talked to the lady, and the lady, I'm going to go talk to the lady. Baby, come talk to the lady. I'm the lady, okay? If I can't be the lady for you, I will find you the lady. Stop telling people that you come to talk to the lady and you ain't talk to us. Come talk to the lady so we can help you with these feelings and maybe make your relationship last, because you don't know how to express your feelings to your girlfriend, and you done got on her nerves, and now she done left you, and here you is trying to find a lady to talk to. Come talk to the lady, baby. Come on.
Go ahead, go talk to the lady. Now you're sitting over there trying to figure out how somebody, I forgot, it was a saying and I forgot what it was. Johnny got your man back on.
Somebody else on here said, don't forget to pray. Spirituality is very, very, very important to people. Everybody needs something to believe in. If prayer is what you need, absolutely pray, meditate, do your yoga, do whatever it is that you need to do, but also come talk to the lady.
I was about to say, I'm all in church and I'm there with you. Pray.
But come talk to the lady.
Get you a pillow if you need to pray, okay? But don't ignore the fact that therapists are here for a reason.
Hello, somebody. God gave us these degrees to help y'all that want to come talk to the lady. Come talk to the lady. Come talk to the lady, baby. It's okay.
Please do. I don't have anything else. You really touched my whole 31 list. I'm kind of upset about that.
Good at what I do. I'm out here in these streets.
People just know. I was like, ooh, this right here be good. I got a whole lot of stuff I can touch on.
Out here.
anybody in the audience have any questions? Anybody on Facebook? Because y'all been asking some really good questions. I did see where Anissa, she said something that was interesting.
Yeah, see, I don't know how to scroll up and down. I could just see the comments as they happen.
Okay, so
God,
she said,
anointed therapist. I have been to the lady.
yes, Miss Jones, yes. So, Miss Anissa Nicole had responded. She said, yes, I think that's why it's hard for me to communicate, because I either I shut down or I cry or talk, or I'm extremely angry. I've been working on talking to my other and is working through stuff in a healthy way. So that's good, Anissa. Just keep working on yourself and go talk to the lady, honey. I can point you in some good ladies. I know some good ladies.
No, a bunch of good ladies. Come talk to us. But communication is very, very important in mental health. Awareness is very important when it comes to mental health. Again, in the Black community, and we touched on this last time I was here, is that that's not something that we really talk about in the Black community, is how serious mental health is and how it affects us and how it makes us look at things a little differently. If you know me personally, if you're my friend on Facebook, then you know that my mom struggles with some mental health issues. And this is a conversation that my sister and I have all the time, is that even with me I'm a licensed therapist. This is what I do for a living. And it's still hard for me to draw that line, you know what I'm saying, with what I know and what I feel, because those are two different things, because this is my mama.
Right.
Over here, but then over here, I'm like, but she has X, Y, and Z going on. But at the same time, this is my mama. So if I have that struggle, then I know that everyday people have that struggle when it comes to talking about mental illness, being able to identify what's going on with our people. A lot of us have taken to, using drugs and just being angry and aggressive and violent when it's usually some type of mental illness going on, that, or even a lack of communication. The person doesn't know how to communicate what they're feeling and how they're feeling, so they lash out when it's mental illness.
Right. I agree. So I have another question for y'all that I just saw posted. It said, do you think religion can sometimes hinder real emotional breakthroughs? That came from PK Forney. And yes, absolutely yes. But go ahead, experts.
So PK, that's my cousin. Hey girl, hey. Funny thing, my first degree is in religious studies, and my purpose in getting that first degree, which what I'm doing with that, nothing, was that I feel like in order to heal a person, you have to know what they believe in. I do feel like in the church, because we're so intent on just praying away the issue instead of tackling the issue, that we don't ever get to the issue. So yeah, I do feel like that is definitely not a knock against the church. My granny is, very heavy into the church. I'm, the family heathen. That's my moniker. I like to throw that out there every now and then. But yeah, like, church has hindered quite a few people from getting the help that they need, because they've been told that they can pray it away. When pray, but come talk to the lady. Come talk.
Right.
I also think that a lot of times, at least in my experience, whenever I've been to my pastor or whoever, if I was going through, we're only tackling what's happening in the moment. But a lot of the things that you're going through started probably way before most of us was even in the church. Okay. Right. So it's only a temporary fix at the end of the day. Praying, yes, it'll get you through anything. I truly believe that, but you also have to tackle those demons that you're dealing with, because if not, you just pushing them to the back burner for them to always come out later. So, I truly believe going to your pastor, your bishop, and members, whoever you trust in, is really important. But like I said, people like you, Miss Jackson, is trained to start from where it began. For you, that may only started last week, but for a lot of us, people like me, that started when I was young.
Right.
Yeah. I got people, in their 30s and 40s coming in talking to me, not understanding why they having these panic attacks now and and then we, I'm talking to them and it's, well, this happened when I was 5 and this happened when okay, so let's keep talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Because this is why this is going on. And I'm very transparent in my struggles with a lot of things. And I know that a lot of the things that I experienced growing up, as far as, like I said, I'm very outspoken about my sexual trauma, that kind of stuff, the struggle with my mom is exactly why I feel and act the way that I do now. And it's, like I said, a struggle for me, even with all of this $100,000 education. If anybody want to help me pay for it, my Zelle is, no, I'm just playing, but for real though, inbox me. Is due to the trauma that I had growing up. And I'm a therapist and I recognize that, but I'm also a human. I'm also just a person. So I tell all my clients, therapy is a journey. I don't have all the answers, Sway, but it's a journey and I'm willing to walk that journey with you to get to where you're trying to go. And that's just that.
Right. And to kind of go back to that right there about the religion. I think that churches need to some kind of way incorporate some type of social worker or mental health person in the church. So it's not just on the pastor to work through it. And even though that person, they might can't deep delve into it, but they could probably get to it a little more than the pastor can, a little bit more. And then they could help them take the steps to go talk to the lady. And as my daddy just said, the pastor need to go talk to the lady too.
That's what I said. Get your daddy.
It's so true though. It's so true.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with having that spiritual support. That could be your tribe. But there's also that very real component that you need somebody that, I'll tell my clients, I'm not getting paid to really per se care about your feelings. You understand what I'm saying? My favorite thing, and Chess, you don't heard me say this so many times, I don't have a dog in that fight. That's not my fight. I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm here to help you deal with your emotions and your feelings. Whereas if you taking it to your pastor or just your homegirls and them, they have a personal dog in that fight. They feel a certain type of way. They know you personally. That's not my ministry. I'm here strictly as somebody unbiased, unjudgmental. It ain't nothing you gonna tell me that's gonna make me clutch my pearls and be like, oh, I can't believe you said that. That's what this space is for. And a lot of people need that space to get out these feelings that they don't even really know that they have or why they have.
Right. Somebody blocked my daddy. Get on my
Really? But also, everybody has their gift. Everybody has their specialty. Everybody has their job. So just like when you go to UNC and you got somebody who specializes in your skin and your eyes and your hair and your heart, it's the same thing with anything else in life. Like your pastor, he's going to handle, the minister, whoever's going to handle, like you said, that spiritual part. But then that's when he need to make a referral because now this is past my job scope. And you go to your therapist. Which I feel like if a lot of pastors actually push that, more people would go. But especially in our communities.
So you just gonna step on toes tonight, ain't you? Sis? Goodness.
I do want to, if there's anybody on here that is heavily involved in your church family that lives in the service area of Piedmont Health Services, which is Orange County, Caswell County, Chatham County, Lee County, Harnett County. We serve a lot of counties. Just go see I ain't there no more. But Piedmont serves a lot of counties. But they actually have a program that they work specifically with churches that gives your members discounts so that they can get these services. So anybody in those areas, look up PiedmontHealthServices.org online and reach out to that so that your church can have that backing.
There's also a lot of organizations out there who like to partner with churches. Churches are just not as easy to partner with. Like some, they open arms, they got office hours Monday through Friday, or they accept you. But a lot of churches are like communities, like you got to get through the gate. And it's hard to part. And I mean, I ain't saying nothing wrong with it, because I know you got to be mindful of who you trust. But there's organizations out there that would love to partner with faith-based communities, but that church don't have an outreach ministry or somebody they can get in contact with, or not accessible. So just keep that in mind as well.
Yep, I agree.
You see any more comments? I see you looking.
Scrolling through now. My daddy is crazy, y'all. Y'all ignore him.
Miss Jones said, as a person, I cannot separate the spiritual me from the emotional and the mental me. My relationship with God leads me to the resources that are best for me, mental health and counselors included. And that's, I get it. I dig that. Like I said, for me, I ain't gonna never tell nobody don't go talk to somebody at church, because I know that spiritual component, no matter what your religious belief is very important, and that is a part of everybody. Right. Even if I grew up in a church, I don't go to church no more, and don't nobody tell my granny that, because y'all some snitches, Portia. But I ain't been to church in a long time. But it's still, do what you have to do for you. And whatever your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirituality leads you to, that's where you're supposed to be as far as a therapist goes. You know what I'm saying? My brand of therapy, the way that I talk to my clients, I believe in reality therapy. I'm very real with my people. I ain't finna sit and shoot BS. I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you to the best of my ability and within the professional scope of practice that I can. Every therapist ain't for everybody, and sometimes you have to go to 2 or 3 therapists to find the one that's right for you. And sometimes it's not a good fit, that first go round. So I completely understand what you're saying, and I completely agree that is a thing that your spirit is going to lead you wherever you're supposed to go. Just let it lead you to somebody's therapist.
Right. So PK Forney, did you have something to say, Shadon?
No.
Okay. So PK Forney, I don't know, you must be reading my mind, because I was ready to go to the school system. That was my next place, boo, and you already own it. So so PK said, my boyfriend is a 3rd grade teacher, and he often comes home talking about the traumas of his classroom children. I'm a firm believer in being proactive. How could the system improve to ensure our children in inner cities and taken care of outside of school? I was going to touch on this before I read that, because I had a conversation with the lady the other day, and
what lady?
Me, No, it wasn't a therapist lady. It was the lady that needed my therapistness.
Well, words are like that. Anyway, continue.
Therapistness. But she was telling me how her son is autistic, and they the school had locked him in a janitor closet because he was acting up. The other kids was too much for him. And so, honey, yes, I told her that she needs to talk to you. I was like, you need to go talk to the lady. But anyway, so she said she went to the social worker at the school.
Is that school still open? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So she went and talked to the ain't it social workers that they got at school? Is it social workers? Counselors, the counselor. She went and talked to the counselor. And she was told that kids' behavior is not her problem. It's only schoolwork. And I wish I had thought about it, so I could have had Sasha on here to ask, is that something? I feel like that was total BS, and the counselor just didn't want to do her job and was just feeding her some BS. I don't think that all counselors do that. But
be real clear that it's different. Everybody therapist. Social work and counselors and therapists are all real different things. I want everybody to be real clear on that. I get a lot of questions all the time about, can I help you with some child support? Hell no. That ain't my scope of practice. I ain't go to school for 8 years to help you with your child support. I'm not coming to take nobody children. That ain't what I do. Right. I have a master's in social work, and I'm licensed to be a therapist. everybody that's a social worker is not a therapist. Everybody that has a master's in social work is not a therapist. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that license. So that's real different. So for her to say that must be what she feels like is her scope of practice. That's number one. Number two, I need you to inbox me this school, because baby, you know how I feel about the puzzle piece kids, and they not about to play with that little baby like that. I need some names and phone numbers, because I gotta. Let me get AJ in here so he.
The child now, this was like 10 years ago. The child is in high school now. I think he's in high school. And this was an elementary school, and I was shocked. But I was just wondering, like, are counselors like able to do that type of stuff? And if they're not, what resources could schools bring in to help handle not only autism, but
the lady?
Kids overall.
You got to bring in the lady. Stop sleeping on the lady. That y'all need us. So, like I said, all social workers are not created equal. It's Meek Mill said that there's levels to this, and he ain't never lied.
Right.
It's different scopes of practice. It's different, lanes and avenues. Everybody that's a social worker, you can't, and this is not, no knock on social workers, because I'm by, trade a social worker. I had to go to school and get a license to be a therapist. I had to do some extra stuff to get here. So there are counselors in school, and you don't necessarily have to have a degree in mental health or psychology or any of that to be a school counselor in some cases.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then you said it was 10 years ago. Yeah, it's that takes me back to the story of the little boy they had done on Netflix. The little boy that was going through all the stuff with the social workers, and they were reporting, the family, and the family ended up killing him. Y'all remember that story?
Girl, I can't even look at that. Yes,
I watched.
I can't look at it.
Come to find out, in the state of California, you don't have to have a degree in Nathan to be a social worker. You can just walk in there and be like, I'd like to be a social worker today. And they're going to be like, all right, here's the application. So you need to be held to a certain standard. You see what I'm saying? And my license holds me to that standard. I could lose my license for little to nothing. That's why I have to be really careful about what I say and really careful about what I do on public platforms, forums, what have you, because everybody is not held to that standard. And also, with you saying it was 10 years ago, autism has come such a long way.
Yeah.
I'm from a very small place where my main thing with getting my son off from down there is that I felt like he would be sitting in a corner somewhere coloring. Now, you're not about to do that to my kid, because he has potential to do something. So, they don't really know what to do with autistic kids sometimes. And I know that AJ is a success story, and that's not everybody's story, but the leaps and bounds that have been made as far as, autism research and being aware of what it looks like for autism now, what an autistic kid can and can't do is real different than it was 10 years ago. Now, that does not excuse that heifer that locked that baby in that closet, because even 10 years later, somebody need to have a good...
We be bossing.
I can't say that. I can't say that. So I'm glad you said that.
School wouldn't even
report it to the board or something.
Honey, fire somewhere. But even to piggyback on what you said, Ms. Jackson, like, you could be meant to be a social worker, but maybe you're not meant to work with kids. So you gotta figure out
type of person to work with these children. You understand me?
Honey. I mean, even me, I've been in healthcare most of my field, and I would never. I mean, I love my kids to death, but that is not my call.
That's your kid.
That is not. I stood with geriatrics most of my career. I can handle that because, as long as they safe, I can walk off for a few minutes. Okay.
Right.
But you can't do that with kids.
You don't know what these jokers gonna do for.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of people get these degrees and they take the easy way out. And I hate to say it, but becoming a counselor is one of the easier avenues.
Right.
Than it would be to be somewhere.
I don't but I'm gonna let you say that because you know.
I'm just saying the people that I know, like I've known people who've looked for social work jobs for a long time and they settled on being like I hate to say that, but
because it's hard to get into social
and they
work.
don't want to pay you.
Right.
They don't want to pay you what you worth. Me, you gonna pay me what I know my worth, and I'm gonna stand on it. And that's right. That's the got you on that. All these letters behind my name were not free. I had to. So do you? A lot of people don't. A lot of jobs don't want to pay for social workers. And I seen somebody say one time that social work is a job. It's not a vow of poverty. You know what I'm saying? Yes, of course, I want to get out here and I want to save every single person that I touch, see, hear, whatever. But I also have bills here at home. I also have children. I have a granddaughter. I need to be able to pay my bills as well. And so, like you said, they take the easy way out because if I'm not expecting much of you, you can't expect no whole bunch of money. And that's just that.
Right. And I have seen it. I've seen jobs posted for people with masters in social work in some counties and they made 30,000. I said, our devil is a lie. You hear me? An entire.
Yeah.
This is true.
So
this is true.
Whew, that's rough.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like it's so much that goes into it. I do what I do because I enjoy what I do. I do work with majority kids. Somebody asked if I work with couples. I do. I work with everybody. The company that I work for, I take all clients. I do have majority children as clients. I do enjoy working with kids. Kids are near, they're special to me. Like you can get hold to this little person and literally change their lives. And that's what I want to do. I'm that lady. But if you want couples counseling, I do that. We do family therapy. We do a variety of things. And even if I'm not what you need or what you're looking for, I can almost guarantee you I can find you somebody that is. So it's just a matter of reaching out and asking.
I agree. Another thing, I think PK Fortney had asked about the schools and what to do. And she said basically she was talking more about kids that was raising themselves that had behavioral issues. I say your boyfriend needs to report it if he thinks something is going on at the house. But it would be good to have somebody in house, like the lady in the school that's able to deep dive and see what's going on with these kids, because teachers can't really deep dive and see what's really going on and know how to fix it.
They're not trained to. They're not trained to, and that's unfair to put that type of responsibility on a teacher. You know what I'm saying? I'm a therapist. Don't come asking me nothing about gynecology. That's not my scope of practice. And we do put a lot of responsibility on teachers when it comes to our kids, and that's not okay. I have several friends that are teachers, and one young lady, she posts stories, cute little short stories every day about her classroom ditties and things that's going on with the kids. But in real life, it's a lot that's going on behind closed doors with these kids, and we're ignoring it because they're kids, not realizing that the trauma that these kids are going through right now is gonna manifest. They're gonna grow up. And then you're going to be wishing that you had took your baby to talk to the lady when he was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, rather than him being 23 and having all of these anger issues and not able to express himself, or the little girl that, might have a hard time fitting in. And, it's just so many different things. And there's so much that goes on in the school system that gets overlooked because these teachers are overworked, they're underpaid, and it's not their responsibility to be a mental health advocate for your child. That's just the black ass bottom line. If you find a good teacher that's gonna do it, amen and hallelujah, you got a good one. But at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility. And it's also, as a parent, that's your kid. What you gonna do with your children?
Right. Exactly. So I got one more thing I want to ask. So I know that kids are, the kids now are currently going through things that are going to affect them whenever they get older. We always suggest therapy. I think that's really good. parents getting therapy so their kids don't have to do it. But what are other things that you think can be done in the community? Like for me, for instance, in my area, it's a small town. It's really not a lot to do here. And it's really not a lot to do. Like you have to drive, and then that's money. And then you got people that are single parents that don't have the money, or even if it's 2 family homes, they probably still ain't got the money to go out and do these types of things. And it's like a lot of stuff that kids probably really, really enjoy cost a lot of money. Or they got to go far.
Especially these days, honey.
One thing that I would like to see come back, I kind of go up and down about it. I would like to see Big Brother, Big Sister.
Yeah.
I would really like to see something like that come back, but then I get kind of
Yeah, because
right.
is real different. It ain't like it was, a couple of years ago. You got to be real careful with who you leave around your chair, honey.
Right.
So I go back and forth with that. I be like, ooh, I like the idea, but then I don't like the idea. But I would like to see more things for kids.
Yeah, back in the day, big brother and sister, everybody trusted people more. Now to do that, you're going to need background checks.
Yeah, and
need
references, you should have them.
Interviews, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't do all
that. Some things, not even necessarily in the community, with your kids, it starts at home. We place a lot of emphasis on doing things kids and giving them the experiences. And if you can do that, great. Everybody can, you know what I mean? If you can take your kid on some wonderful trip, then kudos. But it's a lot of people that cannot expect in the midst of COVID. It starts at home. Spend time with your kids. Listen to your kids talk, even if they ain't talking about nothing. My sister's son, bless his little heart, that joker talks all day long, and it sounds like this, and all he wants to do is have somebody. And and sometimes I'll be like, "All right, bro, that's enough." But he's talking. You know what I'm saying? He's expressing himself. Son is 6'2", 300 pounds, and will hide my car keys when I come to his house because he just wants to spend time with me. Spend time with your kids. Don't you that joker. As I know, my son, this same big, huge boy sent me a text message on Mother's Day, and it started off, "Thank you for not swallowing me or aborting me." That's the kind of kid I'm dealing with. So when you say, you keep that in the back of your mind that, yeah, that's my son.
Audacity. Jesus.
But coming from him, it was from the heart. So all I can say is, thank you, son. Happy Mother's Day to me. You know what I'm saying? Spend time with your kids. It could be something as simple as cooking something with them. Sitting down, even if you don't like they little silly shows, Bubble Guppies, Blues Clues, whatever AJ is interested in. Get your daddy. Anything. Little stuff like that. Color with your kids. I'm tired. I'm tired of your day. Have a conversation with your kids. Take your kids for a walk. Take your kids to the park. That's the kind of little stuff. Google all of these little great activities that you can do with your kids. You would be amazed at how much giving your 30, 35 minutes of your time will change their day. Listening to what they have to say. I come in from work, I'm beat, I'm tired. I don't want to hear it. But if AJ got something he want to tell me, I'm going to listen, because there's going to be a time where your kid is going to want to tell you something. They're going to think about all those times that you told them that you didn't have time to listen, and they're not going to tell you, and it could be something important, and you could really be missing the mark on that. So it's just that simple. Start at home. Talk to your kids. Mental health is majority, to me, communication. Teaching them about these feelings and spending that time with them, because that time, for one, as a parent, is something that you ain't gonna never get back. I wish that I could take this big giant 23-year-old back to when he was a small cute 3-year-old, but it's not possible. So spend time with your kids, listen to them, do cute little things with them, open up that line of communication. That's very important when it comes to mental health. Very important.
You got anything else, Shadon? No.
For me and my son, it's hard for me to find things that my oldest son, now my youngest, he ain't but 2, so he don't really care. But it's hard. The kids are harder to be relatable with because all they into, at least mine, and the ones he around, is technology and games. And if that ain't what you doing, it don't really matter. I can sit here and tell him to come in the kitchen and cook, and he just gonna be, "Oh, we done yet?"
Go play the game with him. Go play the game with
and that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be the smallest thing. It doesn't listen, I know so much Pooh Shiesty and NBA Youngboy and Lil Durk and all of these kids because that's what my middle son likes to listen to. So if I gotta sit in the car and let this joker have the aux cord and we riding and listening to his music, and that's something that his dad does with him. Shout out to my baby father, which is the best baby daddy in the world. That's his way of effective co-parenting. That needs to be the next one. You need to have me and Shaheem on here so we can talk y'all through how we do this.
Listen, yes.
Next week.
Yes. Yes. That is going to be live next month, April.
I'm going to tell Shaheem so he can put it on the calendar.
I said we
where you at?
I'm in March. I need to go talk to the lady.
She said April. Now that was
March.
I was like, what?
June.
Even if it's a quick little 5-minute check with your kid, it doesn't have anything significant. But like I said, I deal with majority kids, and a lot of these kids' chief complaint be that they feel like they can't talk to their parent. They feel like they can't have a conversation with their parent. And so the parents bringing them to me, wanting me to figure out what's wrong with them when they just want to talk. They just want to talk.
Can you come talk to my son about sex? Because I tried and it didn't go well.
You want my baby daddy's phone number? Because
why you look at me like this, Jesse?
I don't really want to do. Clearly, my talk with mine wasn't effective because I'm a nana. You know what I'm saying? Here I am, a grandma, so I ain't who you want to.
They a whole grown man now, ain't it?
Yeah, he was 21 when Toots was born. So, yeah.
Oh, that don't count.
He was, but still, still a baby. But yeah, so it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Check in with your kid. A 5-minute check-in will work wonders in any relationship. Check in with your partner. 5 minutes. Hey, babe, you good? Am I doing all right? You doing all right? Anything you need me to fix? Anything 5 minutes makes a world of difference. So I recommend a 5-minute check-in for anybody.
I'm gonna start checking in with y'all for 5 minutes.
Do you have to?
Oh yes.
Not you, girl.
What you say on for?
Because somebody just commented. First of all, Daddy, next live, you're banned because you
block your daddy. Ronald, pass Ronald.
Hey.
Sir, we're done with you for the day. Okay?
Hey, Big Mama did keep him in check in the day now, though.
Right, that's true.
Go ahead.
Craig Freeman, he said, just wanted to say, great job, ladies. This is really dope show, entertaining and educational. Great combination. Keep up the great work.
That's my other baby daddy. So
thank you, other baby daddy. I'm so sick of her.
She didn't have to down that comment like that. Like, oh, he don't matter.
That's my other one. Appreciate it.
But thank you, Miss Jackson. Yes. Alphabets. Go ahead and list those alphabets again.
Tell them where to find you.
It is exhausting to give you all of these titles, but I'm gonna do it for the people. You understand what I'm saying?
You look like it's just gonna be so much trouble. But go ahead.
Mary P. Jackson, MSW, LCSWA, STOP, sexual offender treatment provider. Yeah, and child forensic interviewer. So I do it's more letters to come. These things cost money and take time, but I will have all of the alphabet soon and very soon. Thank you, God, and my support system and all of that kind of stuff. I am on Facebook under my government name, which is Mary P. Jackson. That is my professional page. The other page, which I ain't gonna say on here, ain't for you people if I don't know you, because you might be a potential employer and I don't act like this at work. I'm a professional. You can also find me as a clinician on Instagram, or is it as a clinician? I think so. I got so many different pages because I'm a heathen over here, but over here I'm a professional. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I cannot.
Gotta be able to draw the line. Podcast as a clinician with common sense coming very, very soon. I just, have my hands in so many different things. I'll also be on another podcast in about a week, I think, talking with somebody else. One of my homeboys has a podcast. We're going to talk about more mental health. I do intend on starting my weekly little tidbits about mental health awareness and giving you, just an overview of what some different diagnoses are, like bipolar disorder, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, those post-traumatic stress, anxiety, those types of things. I promise I'm gonna get started, y'all, but golly, I'll be tired.
Get it together. You got it.
And if they want to seek you professionally, did you say where they can
If
find
you
you? I'm
want
sorry.
to seek me professionally, I am going to do something that I never do. I'm going to give my business phone number, okay?
All right.
It is 336-663-2751. Again, that is 336-663-2751. Do not call playing on my phone, because you got to say your name before I'm going to even accept that phone call. Don't call playing with me. But if you are serious and you're looking for a therapist, you want some type of help, anything like that, call me. I'll do what I can. Inbox me on here. Mary Jackson, of course, as a clinician, is my Facebook page. You can DM me, whatever I can do to help. I'm gonna do whatever I can. I understand everybody doesn't have the money for therapy. It is expensive. Some insurances pay for it. I also got a message that said that some agencies have IPRS funds to pay for services when people have no insurance. That's something to keep in your back pocket. But yeah, if you really want therapy, you really want that help, I'm here.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on again. We're gonna have to make you like a quarterly regular or something.
Right.
Friend of the show. Whenever y'all ready to get this co-parenting segment up and popping, me and Malik Franklin, we have co-parenting down to a science. We do it very effectively. He is my best friend. His wife is my best friend. I talk to them regularly. My son lives with him now, been with them for like a year. That broke my heart, but he's at that age where he needed his daddy. So let him go stay with his daddy, and it's working out beautifully. Baby daddy did call me a deadbeat the other day because I ain't getting no crack meats, but it's because I've been working. I'm gonna redeem myself next weekend. But
Lord, let's be careful with our words. Be careful with our words, folks.
I'm gonna redeem myself. I'm like, deadbeat, God. Wrong language. I ain't not pay my child support. But what else you want from me? Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all get ready
we ain't got time to be commenting on that. Keep going.
Whenever y'all get ready to do that segment, let me know. I am here. I'm ready. Always friends to the show. Very, very, I love being here. The energy is always good, always fun. It's never, even when we get serious, it's still Chastity gonna laugh and everybody gonna laugh. Chastity, your daddy is banned from all lives from now on. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. Everybody that tuned in to watch, I appreciate it. And thank you so much.
And all of MPJ's fans, y'all go like our page.
Yeah,
please go like occasionally pause. Yeah, man, like this is good stuff. These ladies be on here giving y'all some good information. Little ratchet, little classy. I like
there
it.
You go.
It's a
Best of
beautiful
both worlds.
blend of the two. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? It's a
mhm.
beautiful blend of the two.
Yep. You can please go like our Facebook page. We're on Instagram as well. We're on Twitter, but we terrible. And, and you can also always listen to all of our podcasts via most audio podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Google, you name it. You name it. So please stay tuned.
And if you have any show suggestions, I can't even talk, questions, want to be on the show, give us, you can send us a message on any of our platforms, or you can email us at occasionallyposh@gmail.com.
Yes.